Action News reporter Tom Waite live downtown at the courthouse now.
And Tom, nobody expected this to happen today.
Well, Joanna and Glenda, first of all, just stunning developments in this case. Absolutely shocking to hear Bob Bashara admitting to trying to hire a hitman to kill his handyman. This all happening in court here downtown. Bob Bashara being led into court wearing a suit, looking sullen as he generally does, but his appearance pretty much the same as usual. He started out the hearing by signing some paperwork, the deal that he was given. This deal apparently helps him avoid life in prison. That was a potential sentence for this solicitation charge. Now here's the deal. He could get anywhere between just 4 years and about 11.5 years for this solicitation charge. This is very good news for him, especially considering what he was facing. Here is the prosecutor talking about the potential sentence.
There is no charge reduction in this case. We have worked out the guidelines and we agree to guideline ranges. We only dispute one offense variable.
Now, what she's talking about there is the dispute in sort of the sentencing guidelines. The prosecution and the defense have kind of differing views on how this should go. The prosecutor obviously wanting the higher end of this range, the defense wanting the lower end of this range. And remember, right now, there have been no charges against Bashara in connection with Jane Bashara's murder. And the whole reason why the prosecutors alleged that Bob was trying to hire this hitman to kill his handyman is because he was worried that his handyman was going to ultimately testify against him if there was a trial, saying that Bashara had put a gun to his head to kill Jane. So if you can follow all that, we'll bring you the very latest tonight at 6 because there's a lot more to this story. Reporting live downtown, I'm Tom Waite, 7 Action News. Glenda and Joanne, back to you.
Tom, it really does beg the question when you say that, if this is just kind of one domino and another one may come, that he could ultimately be arrested in Jane Bashara's murder. Are you hearing any talk about that at all?
Well, they're not talking right now about any charges in the Jane Bashara murder case, but you can bet the prosecution is still working on this case. Remember, Joe Gentz is only charged right now with conspiracy. That means he had to conspire with somebody to kill Jane Bashara. So just because Bob Bashara has pleaded guilty to the solicitation charge in one case does not mean in any way that the prosecutors can't come back and add new charges to a separate case involving Jane Bashara. So we'll see how that all plays out, but certainly some very damaging testimony earlier this summer when this man who Bob Bashara was trying to hire testified with the recordings, and we'll play some of that for you tonight at 6.
Yeah, it was powerful evidence. Tom Waite reporting. Thank you right now. And right now we are going to run down the key developments for you in the Bashara investigation.
Yeah, Joanne, I've spent the day looking at the history, and we just want to take a look at that timeline.
January 25th, a 56-year-old senior marketing manager found dead in the back seat of her Mercedes SUV in an East Side alley in Detroit. A tow truck driver spotted the body of Jane Bashara at 7 a.m., almost 8 hours after her husband Bob reported her missing. It would be 2 days later, January 27th, Bob named a person of interest in the investigation. Following a lie detector test, he reportedly failed. January 31st, investigators conclude Jane was murdered at her home, then placed in her SUV. The next day, February 1st, handyman and renter of one of Bob's properties, Joseph Gentz, confesses to police he killed Jane while Bob held him at gunpoint. For unknown reasons, police dismiss his confession and let him go free. February 2nd, Bob's secret sex life in the underground world of sadomasochism is exposed, in addition to the sex dungeon in the basement of his Hard Luck Lounge. Also exposed in February, Bob Bashara's affair with alleged mistress and S&M partner Rachel Gillette. A month later, March 3rd, Joe Gentz is arrested in Mount Clemens and charged with first-degree murder.
You're under arrest for the murder of Jane Bashara.
As the cloud of suspicion continued, a breaking point came in June when Bob Bashara was arrested for trying to hire a hitman to kill Gentz. Bob was picked up in an alley behind one of his buildings where sources say S&M parties took place. In July, Bob Bashara's attorney, David Grimm, asks to be removed from his case. And last month, A judge says no to requests to reduce Bashara's $15 million bond, calling him a flight risk, which leads us to today, when the case really took off, with Bob Bashara admitting he's guilty of trying to hire someone to get Gents.
And now he faces sentencing next month. Make sure you stay tuned to 7 Action News. This story continues to develop. At 5:30, we're going to hear from attorney Dave Draper. He says Bashara tried to include his client in a love triangle, and that woman ended up fearing for her life.